Donnacha O Beachain is a politics professor at Dublin City University. Donnacha, thanks so much for joining us. As if Brexit didn't have enough troubles, is Northern Ireland suffering the incompetence of the government in London?
Oh, yes, and it has been for some years now. I mean, it's almost 6 years since the Brexit referendum, and we are suffering from the fact that the British government never gave a moment's thought to the impact of Brexit actually passing a referendum, and certainly in particular its impact on Ireland, which has a very delicate peace process in Northern Ireland. And as you know, it's a divided society, two communities who have very different views about the future of Northern Ireland. And one thing that the European Union, the Irish government and the British government agree on, at least rhetorically, is that there should be no hard border on the island of Ireland. There should be the status quo. There should be, no difficulty of travelling between Dublin and Belfast. And that has meant that to reconcile the British government's wish for the hardest form of Brexit, one that means leaving the single market, leaving the customs union, the customs border had to be somewhere. And the British government under Boris Johnson, after torturous negotiations, negotiated the very Brexit deal that they're now trying to unravel.
Yeah, I mean, when you say that there should be no hard border and mention the peace process in the same kind of thought, my understanding, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is that if there is a hard border, obviously that requires security checks, and that makes people feel more insecure, as if they're almost returning to those times when everything they were doing would be monitored. Is that correct? And if that's the case, how does the whole idea of Sinn Féin having won the majority of seats in the Northern Ireland Assembly, and Sinn Féin being of the idea that actually reunifying ERA with Northern Ireland is an idea that they might pursue? I mean, are the two issues connected?
Well, I mean, they are connected in a way. I mean, it's important, the fact that you emphasise about Sinn Féin. Sinn Féin emerged as the largest party in Northern Ireland in the recent elections. And 4 out of the 5 major parties in Northern Ireland, who Boris Johnson met in Belfast yesterday, are against the idea that the protocol should stand in the way of the Northern Ireland executive re-establishing itself after recent elections. So there's a democratic issue at the heart of this. Sinn Féin are also, by the way, the largest party in the Republic of Ireland, and there's a consensus in the Republic of Ireland across the political divide that divides opposition and government that the border needs to be an invisible one between the United Kingdom and the Republic of Ireland. And therefore, since the British were given, as I said, a number of options which they could choose, many of which have said would have left a much softer Brexit than the one they pursued, they went for a hard Brexit. And unfortunately, that meant that customs checks had to occur somewhere. And as I said, the British government chose a version of Brexit that meant a border down the Irish Sea. And that, of course, upsets unionists in Northern Ireland. But you have to put this in perspective. The DUP got 180,000 votes in the recent election. There are hundreds of millions of people in the European Union, and certainly the wishes of 180,000 people in Northern Ireland, who are themselves a tiny minority, 21% of the vote they got, cannot be used to hold the whole of the European Union, including the Republic of Ireland, to ransom.
Donnacha, there's a bigger issue here, of course, and that's a possible trade war between the UK and the EU. Do people in Northern Ireland care about that, or is their issue just that they are not happy with the Brexit deal that London has agreed, and that they're the ones losing out? I mean, that other issue is obviously, for the government in London, when you consider the UK as a whole, the biggest issue that it's facing.
Of course, but it's important that we define the people of Northern Ireland. The majority of the people of Northern Ireland voted against Brexit. They wanted to stay in the European Union. And as I said, 4 out of the 5 major parties want the executive to be established and government to take its place in Northern Ireland, irrespective of what happens with the protocol. The majority of people in Northern Ireland support the protocol. So the British government is pursuing a very dangerous policy, which risks, as you say, sanctions against the United Kingdom, a trade war, at the very time when we don't need a trade war in the European Union because, of course, of the war in Ukraine. We need a united Europe. And to be focused on the war in Ukraine. It's a very odd timing to be pursuing this strategy. And the United States government, which is still in the process of trying to figure out what type of trade arrangement it will have with the United Kingdom, has made it clear that any action which is seen to undermine the Good Friday Agreement will be one that will have repercussions in any negotiations for a trade arrangement between the United Kingdom and the United States. So this is something of much broader significance, and it seems to be a game of chicken that the United Kingdom government is playing. But Northern Ireland is as I said, the most vulnerable part in this, and as it has been from the beginning, Northern Ireland is collateral damage of the whole Brexit process.
Extremely messy. Donnacha, thank you so much indeed. Donnacha O Beachain.